All right. I think it's been a while since I've live streamed anything, so I think I've got everything set up correctly here. Um, I guess before we jump in and start coding, can I get a thumbs up if you can hear me fine and see my screen? Um, and then we'll give it a couple minutes for the the non-punctual people to show up. I'm also curious how big of a delay we've got going here. Right now, it seems like I'm probably like 30 seconds or something major. All right. Audio could be a tad louder. Okay. We'll try cranking it up. Maybe that's better. Is the Now is the audio level good? Yeah. So I do have O3 Max enabled here. We're gonna see what happens. Um, I I've kind of had mixed luck on the I guess starting new projects from scratch with O3. Um, but we'll we'll see. Um, I'm also yeah okay. Um, let's jump into the basic concept here. So yesterday, no, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I had the idea. Well, so I was building a thing. I posted about on Twitter. This like voice calling voicemail thing for my wife, and it needed like a little icon. And then specifically, I was like, I need a favicon. And I didn't want to design something. I was like, man, I just want to throw an emoji in. I wish you could throw an emoji in as the favicon and like be done. That would be great. So turns out that is possible, but it does require a little bit of uh, finagling. So then the idea was, well, what if we make it just build like this little service where it's like a hosted thing where you just tell it the emoji you want to use, either with the emoji itself or some sort of keyword based thing like in Slack or whatever. And you could just type that into the like a hosted thing. So like you're just like emoji. What's my favicon.com fire, like, and then that would be the thing. Or actually just fire, like put that in your in the link in your meta tags, and then that shows up as your favicon, and you could swap those out for whatever. Like it's very easy to just change that out. So that's what we're building, which is kind of dumb and doesn't really solve any kind of major problem. But like, there's a lot of ways we can over-engineer this, and I fully intend to over-engineer this. So, and that'll like kind of give some insight into how I'm building stuff in general. Like, even though this is dumb and not particularly useful, it does sort of give some insight into how I approach this kind of stuff, and with very little consequence to like who cares? There's not like a major security issue here or anything like that. So as we're sort of hacking all this stuff out, throw your comments into the chat, and I will try to answer stuff as we go. Certainly any feedback here as we go is very much welcome. But the thing's called Emoji Favicon, and that's the domain that I have. Let's talk real quick about cursor sort of settings. I use agent mode for pretty much everything. I will swap back and forth probably between O3 Max and then Gemini 2.5 Pro, not in max mode usually. So it just kind of depends on how much money I guess I feel like spending. Yeah. But to kick off the project, we'll do O3 Max here. So quick question in the chat: Have you tried post-acquisition windsurf? I've opened windsurf like twice, and both times I don't know, maybe I'm so used to using cursor that the whole flow just didn't work for me. Like I could never get done what I needed to get done or wanted to get done. Again, though, I think this is because I'm so used to how cursor works, and so there's translating the different UX stuff. I didn't care enough because cursor scratches the itch for me. Okay. So the plan here is to do this in React, and specifically Next.js, almost entirely because I think deploying this to Vercel is super easy. And because it's this hosted thing, I need to be able to host it. And I don't want to spend a bunch of time doing DevOps sysadmin junk. So we're going to build it as a Next.js app. Yeah. And here's, so our first thing here is going to be, that's my face. I'll give some insight into various cursor rules. So, let's see. So the first thing I would typically do in a project is, let's see, we'll always include this, is try to give context. So context on any of this stuff is crucial. So I have, in this case, I think I found this on like cursor directory for Next.js stuff specifically. So a rule about Next.js, and that, it goes ahead and talks about what to use, including UI stuff and Tailwind and all that. So we include that. Let's see. I also typically create a what I just call general rules to always include. Let me copy and paste a few that are relevant here. So these are things that I find are kind of like it gets caught up on, especially like Tailwind 4 is new enough. And then I want it to run the lint command so that it's like sort of auto fixes bugs. We'll add to this as we go, but that's sort of the starting point there. So those two rules to kick things off. Let's see. I'm going to actually have a theory. So whenever you're generating something from scratch and there's not really anything in the directory, and it may still yell at me about this. It's like sometimes it will try to put the app in a subdirectory, and I'm already in the directory I want, but we'll tell it that. Okay, so let's talk about generating the app. So we go ahead and include our couple of rules here. Another thing that I have installed here is context 7. So terrible name, but that's fitting for most AI LLM model stuff. This sort of pulls in live, up-to-date docs automatically as the agent decides that it's worth it. So you'll see me talk about in the prompt, I'll say use context 7, and that's what I'm referring to. We don't need that. Okay, we can close all this for now. Okay, so let's talk about, this is like our initial telling it what to build here. So I want to build a Next.js app called emoji. That's a hosted service where users can simply pass in an emoji and it will properly set properly return a favor for them to use in their meta link tag. Use relevant and then here's the code that makes the emoji work. So, and like we'll say, let's keep it as the fire one. But we want users to just be able to do okay. Now let's see what happens. I'm almost certain I'll get some kind of dumb errors. Specifically around project setup stuff. Like, it's real hairy. Let's see. So the question in the chat, interested to know whether it will try to use a special character or emoji and then convert it into an image and then to .ico. It shouldn't. So you can basically pass in SVG data to the favicon tag. Yeah, so it shouldn't convert anything. We'll see. So you already saw when it was thinking, it starts talking about creating a Tailwind config file, and then it says I told it not to. Either way, so it's still yapping and thinking through. This goes like, I've seen it build out for, very little time to like takes multiple minutes. Is the screen size good for everybody? I've got it zoomed in on my end. Can you like see the text ultimately? All right, so far so relatively good. Sometimes it'll throw errors because there's something already in the root, like the cursor rules file, but We'll see. It's still just building the core stuff. And to be clear, I have no idea what this stuff is. Oh yeah, somebody mentioned next 14. That's a good point. We'll tell it to use 15. But we're getting there. Okay, so it is attempted. So this is wrong. I only know that because I've encountered it in the past like week. But we can fix that. So still building out core stuff. And I can hear the money hitting the floor. And I don't know, maybe Gemini Pro would have worked fine for this. We could have tried it both ways, I guess. And I don't know, maybe we could try a clean app from scratch. But like O3 tends to just knock out so much stuff so much quicker correctly that it's unquestionably more expensive, but it also, imagine it cuts the time in half. That's worth something. Yeah. Okay. We'll also need to set up a get ignore file. Okay. You used Next.js 14 and you should have used Next 15. Please update accordingly. Yes, still cheaper and quicker than a human, unquestionably. And I think that it's worth the cost. You could argue, is it worth the cost? So maybe we're using, as a team, we use it, using O3 and like racking up large amounts of money. But however, there's one singular salaried engineer. So we could spend a very large sum of money on O3, and it's still, if that keeps us from having to hire another engineer, well, like obviously it's worth tens of thousands of dollars, $100,000, maybe not that much, but I mean, maybe it's still cheaper than hiring an additional human. Have I tried Codex? Yes, I played around with it a bit. I still don't know that it replaces Cursor for me. But I probably need to spend more time with it. Hold on. Let's see. It's getting close to being done here. And then we'll load this up and see what it spits out. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and accept all. Let me open a terminal. Okay, and this is our CSS, our tailwind isn't working because of it being wrong. So we need that. Let's see if that's enough. No, that's not enough to fix it. Let's see. Remember global.css is what's used in Tailwind 4. Use context 7. So again, context 7 is what kind of, it pulls in more up-to-date docs instead of hoping that cursor will have up-to-date docs. Okay, so it was also Tailwind CSS using 3 instead of 4. Yeah, that's a problem, guys. So, and this is the case with, I mean, every LLM. I haven't found any that don't struggle with versions of things, right? Like, even if you tell them a version, it will still, if the majority of the docs that it's able to find or it's got in its memory refer to some previous version, you're going to have to brute force it using a more recent version. I don't know that that's unique to any of the OpenAI models. Mm-hmm. Okay, can feel it. We're getting close to being done. It's working through some errors. Yeah, I forgot about the post CSS. Yeah, I think that's probably right. I don't need that or that or that. I'm afraid there will be a decent amount of waiting and watching the LLM just yap. So I'm happy to answer questions while we're waiting, because there's just a lot of waiting. Let's see what's to get angry about. I think we're making progress here. Oh, and that's actually probably next build. Oops. So to me, it's slightly frustrating that we're this early in the thing and it's still, you know, I guess I could have broken this up into smaller steps and just said, like, get a basic Next.js app running first, just vanilla, don't add any features or anything. That would have been one option, I guess, but yeah. getting closer. I can feel it. The coding end asks, what are we cooking up here? So we're cooking up an emoji favicon service so that you can basically just pass in a URL and have your favicon be an emoji without having to, go and make some SVG file or deal with .ico files or anything like that. BVOO asks, why don't I just run the commands to set up the project yourself? Because I have no idea what it's doing. Like I don't code anything in Next.js. That's the whole thing here, is like I'm using plain English to set this stuff up and then debugging it as it goes, or letting the AI debug it. Like that's just doing it myself. Doesn't take into account like I guess I could have set up the core project myself, but like I've already told it what I'm trying to build. So in theory, it keeps a lot of that stuff in mind as it's sort of figuring out what to add, what packages to add, what paths to add, that kind of thing. And yes, like we're sort of stumbling through getting it working, but that's okay. Like I don't mind. All programming is, especially imagine like test-driven development. Like that's exclusively like making things break or not work to begin with, and then you're slowly writing code to make it work. So to me, this is like in what I would say is AI-driven development. There's a lot of stuff that's just breaking up front, and then it has to read the error and essentially write the code to make it pass. That's how I view it anyways. Okay. We're stuck on this like one thing. Oops. Okay, cool. I think it's still working through something, but we've got a functional thing. I'm curious if, there is no source on GitHub. Okay, we have a functioning site in general here. I wonder what happens if we just do like localhost. All right, so it's returning the emoji. That's what we want. Rob asks if it would be worth getting the LLM to recommend the tech stack. Sure, yeah. I think that's a great idea. I think, yeah, especially around like the ease of deployment. I've just been on like a Next.js kick for the past 7 to 10 days, so I just decided to go with it. I think the ease of deployment is also slightly subjective. So what one person thinks is easy, I might find a complete waste of time. So like last week, everybody was suggesting instead of Vercel using Cloudflare for a Next.js app, and like the insanity. It was the idea that it was comparable from like an ease of setup perspective was silly. So very different definitions of what's easy. So in this case, I've decided ABC is what's, easiest for me. So like, that's what I'm going with as far as tech stack. But, okay, let's do a quick test here on actually just passing this in. It's localhost for now, but, okay, it's still thinking, which is, I don't love that it's still chewing on stuff. Like to an extent here that in my head, this is just like racking up more money. Let's see. Let's stop it running. Then I'm gonna remove the next build stuff so it's not getting in the way of anything. Okay, we're still good to go. Okay, so hold on, let me answer some questions. Why not Claude? So I've found that the Claude stuff it's useless to me at this point. 3.5 or 3.7 just don't work for me. It's either O3 or Gemini. Like those are the only two that I ever use at this point. The Rails new emoji favicon bin dev done. Yeah, in theory, then you've got to go deploy a Rails app somewhere. So no thanks. I mean, I love Rails. The idea that this is going to be as easy to deploy as for Vercel, not happening. Reading through questions here. Verna, can we see the total cost of this session at the end? Sure. We'll try to. It's not super clear. Like there's not a dollar. It just like talks about number of tokens, but we'll see if we can crunch that. Okay, let's see. We're going to set a new. Okay, set up our own favicon to use the service. URL should use localhost locally and the production URL in production. Let's see if it knows what I'm talking about here. So, and I've switched to Gemini for this because I don't think O3 is necessary. This is in theory, relatively basic stuff. So it may tell me to set up an environment variable. What would I use to queue jobs? I haven't had to deal with job queuing. I don't know. The background job queuing stuff with Next.js is a complete black box to me. No idea. And that's one of the main reasons I like using Rails for backend stuff. And typically use Rails for any kind of major project, but I also like to dabble in other stuff too, just so that, kind of try out new stuff and not just assume that I'm always using the right thing. I think there's different tools for different jobs, right? This is bonkers that Gemini's talking this much. Okay. Okay, so you can see here it's using an emoji. That's great. So it did what I wanted it to do. Let's see. Okay. So we've got title. All this is working. Now we've got a functional thing here. So now let's deploy it to Vercel. So that, let's see, we can get that out of the way. Let's also set up. Let me pick a ignore file that I've just used before. So we're not. Do I think that there's value in understanding the stack you're using and how it works, or has that gone out the window? So I think that there is value from like a debugging perspective. I think long-term there's no value necessarily, but I mean we might be years away from that, right? So like I know I've been able to sort of more quickly hack my way through things because I have a rough understanding of some of the stack. That's helpful, obviously, but I don't know that it's required. Okay, we're going to publish this to a private repo for now. Cool. So let me oops, I got too much open. I'll move over. Oops. I'm about to bring over Vercel here in just a second. So you can see what I'm doing there. Okay, so I'll do my best not to spit out any environment variables. And I fully expect there to be some breaking thing here. We'll also need to set up Cloudflare. Did this work? We're still working on it. Okay. I think it was talking about this error before as well. So we've got an error, and I think I saw this error. Yeah, again, saw this error before. We'll do. I'm just going to include source. Also tell it to use context 7, and then with bugs, I tend to prefer to use O3, just so I'm not. It tends to do or handle bugs more better. While that's waiting, let's see. Well, no, we'll go back. I feel like I recall this being an issue before on another code base, but we'll see if this. So here it called the MCP tool. So this is likely calling some sort of Next.js docs to try to figure out the bug. Okay, so in this case, yeah, it's Next.js. See if it can run the. Oops. Okay. Now let's do a quick check. See if it. If we got any errors. Nope, no errors. So let's see if we can, if that fixed it for us. And then hopefully if that works, then we'll set up the domain stuff. No. Okay. So if I recall correctly, and this, to your point, asking about being familiar with the stack, if I recall, there was like a layout. Let's see, error still persists. I think that's. Can I spell persist right? Yeah. The emoji path need its own layout. Okay, while that's thinking through, I'm going to see if it'll let me set up domains. What is the name of this? Emoji.com. Yeah. I'm going to add this DNS record so it can be propagating. Okay, cool. This finished. What did it do? Who knows? Let's just push it and see what happens. Cool. Didn't work. Okay. Still getting the same error. Please think more deeply about the issue and use context 7. While that's waiting. I think I need to set up. Well, I mean, this isn't the cause of the problem, but while that's running, what was it saying we needed? Oh, Vercel URL. So we'll add. Talking about awaiting things. Let's see. Let me try the build and see if we can save ourselves a little bit of back and forth. Okay. So let me, so that passes there. Let's see if it'll pass in production. Okay. Why did you use context 7 for that error the first time when it was a TypeScript error and not one of the libraries or the frameworks? I just, wait, why did I use it? I would use it all the time if I could. The only reason I just didn't remember to use it on every single time. Like, the idea is that the agent decides if it needs additional data from different docs. So when I remember to use context 7, I just put it there, and then the agent gets to decide. Okay, we're working now. Let's see if if that works. Yes, we're in business. Let me make sure that we're using our URL for the. All right, and we can see there, it's using our service. Nice. All right, so we're working now. Here's the part where we can probably start over-engineering some stuff that I think would be kind of interesting. So we can close these things out because we don't need those anymore. Let me close this. So let's, I want to make the index page much more interactive. There should be a large emoji above the page title that when you click on it, it lets you select an emoji to use and updates. Yes, this is recorded, or it is recording, and then you can watch it after the fact. Using updates the favicon on the page live. So let's see what happens. Whoops, stop. I'm gonna go ahead and let's see, include the source. What else do I want to include? Use context 7 because why not? These, we'll just throw those in there for kicks. In my head, the more context, the better, sort of. That's kind of like a gut feeling of when to include things or when not to include things. What I'm hoping happens here is it's going to add an emoji up here that when you click on it, you can select one, and then it'll update. Ideally, what I needed to get it to do is to update your embed code here and change out our favicon. Yeah. But let's see what it does here. I will. So to PA, you said that I haven't opened a single file of code yet. That's yes. Then Brennan said I had to fix the Tailwind issue. I did. Well, I manually fixed, or I thought I was fixing the Tailwind issue, but then I ended up, it actually fixed itself when I realized that it was, or when it realized it was still using Tailwind 3 and not Tailwind 4. And so then it went back and backfilled all that stuff. So I did open a line of code, I did open a file and edit a line of code, but ended up not using it. But I do find it interesting, more or less, that we're like not touching any of this. I'm basically, I tend to leave my source, like the Git repo or stuff, as the only thing I open, generally. I have no idea what Emoji Mart is. I guess that's some existing package. Let's see what happens. Okay, so now it's editing our page, which should give us what we want. Oh, wait, no, I need to be in development. So he said, I don't like the methods, but the result is there for sure. Yeah, I completely understand the like, oh my gosh, this is the worst way to build anything. Like I get that. I've been building stuff for the internet for 25 years. Like I can build stuff, but I find this much more enjoyable, honestly. So, this is like this sort of like brute forcing your way through. It feels similar to how I would like code stuff anyways, and like go to Stack Overflow and like type out a question, and then you got to wait at least hours, if not days, for a response and all that. So, why is that still not working? literally copy and paste that in there. Brendan says, still on Arc IC. Have you given Zen an honest try? Yes. So I tried Zen for about a week and found that I need Chrome extensions. The Firefox as the core part of Zen just kept getting in the way. So no, that's why I'm back on Arc. Okay, let's see if that fixed our problem. Okay, another error. And so this is typically, a lot of times it just running lint fixes these issues automatically. So if you go back to my cursor rules, after I've completed changes, run npm run lint, that automatically will fix stuff a lot. But otherwise, when it throws these next issues, like I just press the copy button and paste it in, and generally it will figure out what's going on. So Felipe says, I like building this way. The only problem is when we get into a loop of refactoring one side and breaking another. So the way that I do this in Rails is that I'll actually do test-driven development. So I'll tell it to do like red, green refactor development. And so like have it write tests, then fix them. And so it will essentially write the tests for me as I go. I've not touched the world of writing tests for Next.js or React apps, and I don't know that I care to. Especially because the stuff that I'm building with React is like inconsequential. Let me see if that fixed this. Yeah. Okay. There we go. All right, well, our picker works, but it's not updating our, well, okay, two things. It's updating this down here, so that's correct, but it's not updating our emoji. Let's see. The picker works great, but it also needs to update the browser apps link so that it's using the newly selected emoji. Okay, questions. Let's see. You know, oh, so Git committing automatically every time. I kind of still like to be able to personally mark when to commit something, because this stuff's making changes, especially in agent mode, because it's like making so many changes, when the reality is a lot of times I'll go through, and then if I get pretty deep into it and then I realize this is really not working, I'll reject all the changes, and it's easier if I haven't committed that. So I kind of like to be the arbiter of checkpoints, essentially. Okay, let's still, we can go ahead and accept that. Okay, there we go. You can see it's updating it down here, and it's updating it in. All right. So the next thing we want to do is, let's have the app load a random emoji every page load. So it's always different. Remember to also have the update for that. Okay. While that's updating, what else should we do here? We could do to over-engineer this, right? We could do keywords. So we could have a database of, it's like, say this is how it has the, like, when you're picking emoji, it's got the keyword like smiling face with tear. We could have those, those could be keywords. Fire engine, fire extinguisher. I wonder if would that work with this emoji marked? I think my guess is yes. So let's. After it does this, I'm going to see if I can use, what is it, Emoji Mart? Is that the name of this thing? Yeah. See if we can use Emoji Mart to use keyword-based stuff. Pericles, thank you for tuning in. All right, so it's doing random emojis. I'm down with those random emojis. Regardless. Okay, so that's sort of interesting. It's like doing a double. Okay, so that generally works, but when I load the page, it seems to be picking a random emoji, and then milliseconds later picks another one. Ooh. I also want us to be able to like click this and it selects it and copies it, but we'll do that. Actually, okay, let's do this. So that's working on one problem. We can do Command T to start a new tab, and I can also be working on another problem. So cursor will simultaneously work on this. So let's see. With the code snippet, I want the user to be able to just click that div and have it copy the code to their clipboard. Okay, so that's running. This is also running. So you can have multiple agents running at the same time. Okay, that first one finished. Let's see. Okay, so that's working, but it's not loading. Now it's not updating. Let's see if that works. That works, but the random is not working. That fixes our initial issue, but now on page load, when a random emoji selected, it's not updating the link. Let's see. So when doing a Rails app, do you ask it to do migrations automatically or do them manually? I have them, or I allow them to do them automatically, and generally don't have any issues there. Is that our clipboard? Yeah. So I want to, yeah, that works. I want a better confirmation message there, but. Style the confirmation message inline inside the div. See if it knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so you said Rails in agent mode always messes up migrations, generating the wrong file name. So this is where these general rules come in. So what I'll do in my cursor rules is tell it to always use Rails. So like if you do Rails generate migration, I tell it to use the Rails command for migrations instead of manually creating the files. So that's sort of the key there is telling it, hey, like you got to use the Rails generators for this stuff. Don't just manually create stuff, and then you're good to go. Oh, I just closed something I didn't mean to. Oh, let's see. I don't. What's happening? Did it change it? Hold on. Neither one of these things worked here. Let's see. It's still not using the random emoji in our own page load. We'll come back to the copy thing. Well, maybe we'll also, oh, let's see. I think we just got it. Cool. So I'm wanting it on page load to use the randomly with selected one, and it is properly doing that now. Fantastic. Okay. So that works. Let me go back to the whole, let me accept all that, then go back to my copy. Okay, still. Yeah. I don't want it to throw this. I want it to just show up like over here. We'll see though. Yeah, we're also doing the keyword stuff. Okay, there we go. Style our copy. text more like a pill and have it right aligned in the div. There's no reason for me to keep using O3 Max here. There we go. Beautiful. I want to add a little note about selecting. Well, so let's see. We need to have a clever little tag note near the emoji picker that lets people know they can click it to select their own emoji, along with fancy pants hover interactive states. Do I always type out or prefer using whisper flow for dictation? So I usually, if I'm not needing to type any code, I actually dictate using is it Super Whisper? Is this one right here? What was it? Super Whisper, yeah. Oh, it has an update. Yeah, I'll use Super Whisper for dictation. But with live streaming, I don't know how it works with audio picking up and stuff. It's easy enough for me just to type it. Yeah, okay, let's see what it decided to do. Well, I don't need that. It needs to show the note without hovering, because otherwise the user has no idea they can hover, click, and select an emoji. Also, clicking outside of the emoji picker should close the emoji picker. I have an idea on that little note. Okay. For the little note, show it above the emoji picker with a little tooltip. What is that thing called? Arrow bit. No need for a close button on the tooltip. So the benefit here of like using Gemini is that it's a lot faster. I mean, yes, it's saying a lot, it's typing a lot out, but it's still, it tends to edit code a heck of a lot faster. And it doesn't, cost a kidney. Now I say that it edits it really fast. It's also now it's taking a long time. There we go. Cool. I think I like that. What were we doing next? Keywords. Okay. If possible, let's use emoji marts keyword support to let users. Oh man, I don't. I'm curious. I'm going to see what it's going to tell me to do here, because the reality is, like, if you're passing in the keyword, it still has to render it. So it may need to end up having to load some kind of JavaScript. I don't know. Let's see. Let's let users pass in keywords in addition to emojis. Example. Emoji. I am going to use 03 max and say use 7. We'll also see if we can do some stuff to make this page look a little nicer. I'm curious how, or if, because what it's doing, it's return. I mean, it would have to include something in this route file. Okay, so that's interesting that it's already, yeah, it's doing a bit of security there automatically. Like, I didn't tell it to, keep security in mind, for better or worse. Let's make the page a lot more fun. Let's see what it thinks it means to make the page a lot more fun. Okay, so it's loading the data from Emoji Mart. We'll see if that works though. Mr. Fambo says, "Don't you think it is slow?" Is what slow? Let's see if I can. Okay. So keywords do work. That's neat. Oh yeah, this gives the example of Santa. All right, neat. Okay, let's make the background gradient animate let's give it a few to-dos here. Background animate to the code will need styling to make it stand out more on the background. 3, make mention of. So I'm referencing my other chat about doing the keyword integration. Make mention of keywords as an option as well for passing in emojis. You mean the AI model takes a long pause to respond? I mean, it's all magic. Like, who cares if it takes 30 seconds or 10 minutes even? Like, it's still vastly faster than me doing this myself. Like than me, doing artisanal code without AI. Still way faster. We're also gonna, so you see how like the J is cut off here? We'll address that as well. All right. Yeah, agreed, Mr. Fambo. Yeah, agreed. Just a little boring and awkward silences. I mean, sure. Yeah, I absolutely agree that it doesn't make for as exciting video, right? Okay, so we've got our descriptive text that you can use as well. PA, you said would you say I've turned into a project manager now? Yes, like I'm managing just the code now, right? Like I'm describing features. Okay, what was my next thing I was going to do? I was going to fix this J. Okay. Let me. Is it? So what I'm going to do is, like, I've got this line of, well, it's this whole H1 really. So Command L to specifically reference it, and then I'm aware of this background clip text. Clip is what's causing that J. So we'll say is clipping the J in emoji. Clipping the bottom of this. And no reason to use 03. Oops. No reason to use 03 for that. What else do I use in conjunction with cursor? Nothing other than context 7. Like, that's the only sort of add-on here. Did it just fix it? Sure. Yeah, there we go. What else? Let's see. I'm gonna change this built with thing. Change the built with message to link, or to say something more like built. We'll say vibe coded by What else I want to say? Open sourced on GitHub. What's the resolution? I've actually, the resolution's pretty high, but I've zoomed in a lot because it's hard to read text. Let's see, I could probably zoom out a little bit. It's hard to like view text in a YouTube video without being zoomed in a bit. Okay. Let's say link at Spigford to and the Git. Oh, let's see. Let me let it do this thing, and then I'll fix the GitHub link. Okay. What else? We're at almost an hour and a half here. What else should we do? Speak now, or that'll be the end of this. Let's see. I could probably go ahead and deploy it just to make sure. We haven't deployed it recently. Oh, and I also need to make it. Oh, it's already failed. No. Let's see here. Bet it's the build. No, that turned out fine. We'll just copy and paste those in. What's happening? Let's see. Okay, let's see how much we've spent. I don't know that we've spent. Let's see. I feel like I'll have to come back to this because this is what it gives me, or like these the requests, and not the usage. I'll post about it on the internet under the Twitter account. Okay. Let me see if this. All right. I think that worked. Yep. So we can do things like. Wonderful. Okay. Good deal. This feels like a decent stopping point. Yeah, we're an hour and a half in. That's all I got. Thanks for tuning in. Certainly shoot me any questions on Twitter or yeah, that's the easiest place, or comments here on the YouTube video. And then maybe we'll do this again next week. I appreciate you tuning in.